All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Village Board to order at 7:30 PM. We have trustees Warren, trustee McGovern, Stokebrand, and Arndorfer present this evening. Trustee Ursink and Kudo are both excused. Has this meeting been publicly noticed?
The meeting has been properly noticed and posted according to law.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your time, talent, and patience in advance as we conduct business this evening. We do not have any special orders of business, so moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to approve by trustee Warren, seconded by trustee McGovern. Any discussion? Yes.
I'd like to please pull items D as in Donna, E as in Edwin, and F as in Frank.
All right. Without any further discussion, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, with the exception of D, E, and F, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 6, items removed from the consent agenda. Item 5D, consider approving of crossing guard RFP. Trustee Stokebrand.
Yeah, I just wanted to, curious about the price. I believe it's a 1-year contract and we'll be at about 71, almost 72,000. And I was looking back through the budget. It looked like we currently pay 69. Is that, so the cost increase is not?
It's
huge.
not substantial, no.
And I guess my next question was, considering doesn't seem to be a lot of movement on this, is there any idea about why could we go for a 2-year contract? Would you like one? Would they like one? Would we like one?
Ideally, I'd like one, yes. Honestly, trustee Stokebrand, it didn't come up during the negotiations of the RFP. And that's something that we could potentially revisit with them if the crossing guard contract is approved. I'm happy to go back to them and ask them if they'd be willing for an extension.
Yeah, if we could lock in a price, obviously that would be, it seems like the responsibilities don't change a lot.
Correct.
And so I'm just thinking, instead of doing, although now there was someone bought somebody out, so there was a little bit of motion there. But I guess I like the idea of possibly in the future going to, if we're happy with it after 1 year, we could reconsider with mutually agreed upon by the party.
I would ask them if this contract is approved, I will ask them for the next contract year,
Okay.
if that's something they're willing to do.
I think the
Okay.
one we had 2 years ago went bankrupt. And that's why then this was a different switch. And so it was kind of a see how it went. And
Sure.
Because
And I think
yeah,
COVID had something to do with that perhaps. And so maybe we're in a
exactly,
period of less uncertainty in some areas.
exactly.
So maybe that's something going forward, but otherwise that's all I had and I'd be happy to make the motion if there's no other. I move to approve all city management services for crossing guard services for 1 year in the amount of $143,000, $143,708.40.
Second.
Motion by trustee Stokebrand, seconded by trustee Arndorfer. Any discussion?
Do I also there's another motion to approve the memorandum of understanding. Do I need to move that all?
Yes.
I'll do it after this vote, maybe?
Yep. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Would you like to make a motion for the memorandum of understanding?
I move to approve the memorandum of understanding for crossing guard services.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion by trustee Stokebrand, seconded by trustee Warren. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And finally, 5F, consider application, oh, no, sorry. 5E, receive final report on 2025 review of Capitol Drive pedestrian safety enhancements initiative. Trustee Stokbrand.
Yeah, I understand that this is a report only and there's no motion or anything, but I wanted to, as someone who was involved in this at the early levels, I wanted to thank everybody, the village volunteers on the Elderly Services Advisory Board, Bike and Ped Safety, staff for everybody's work on this. I think we did make some progress, and there's more signage. The the better beacons. We got some things accomplished, and we've learned a lot, I think. I think, the overall goal was to try to speed down the traffic, and I don't feel like we really accomplished that part of it, but progress was made. And I think the biggest thing I learned from this is, especially with the the traffic study and the speed study, is the importance of engaging residents at all levels of this. We may have been able to get an outcome better about the speed limit, better aligned with our goals, if we had taken the time to engage residents sooner. And so that's my biggest takeaway from this, is to just keep the residents informed and engaged at all levels. And someone else may want to. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right. Is there a motion?
I believe that there's no motion, but I believe Sandy is zooming in.
Sandy, if you'd like to be heard, can you come off mute, please?
I'm trying. There. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. President McKay, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak briefly. This is Sandy Pendleton, 3529 North Frederick Avenue, Shorewood, Wisconsin. I speak today in my personal capacity, not on behalf of any subcommittee or committee. The problem with West Capitol is it was and remains a Strode. We've allowed it become a Strode over the last poor decisions over decades. It's a shame that this 2-year process has not significantly moved the needle towards making West Capitol more safe for pedestrians or other vulnerable road users. So I hope that we take a lessons learned approach from this process in the last 2 years. And the next time we revisit this issue, and I'm sure we will at some point, we approach it in a better way. I agree with Trustee Stokebrand that there's much praise to be distributed for all the hard work staff and the elected officials and members of the community have put into this. But I also think we should not pat ourselves too much on the back, especially when it comes to the speed study. Sometime in the future, we're going to have another speed study regarding West Capitol Drive. When we do that, it's important that we follow a better process than we did the last time, and we have a better designed speed study than we did the last time. Otherwise, we're just going to, again, waste tens of thousands of dollars on a speed study that it was predictable would reach a conclusion that would not in any way enhance pedestrian and vulnerable user safety on Capitol Drive. So thank you for the opportunity to speak on this. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I would take a motion at this time.
Isn't it just a report?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so even though it was on consent agenda, yes. All right, so I declare this information received officially. And I believe we have one more item that was removed from the consent agenda. Consider application for special privilege approval for a loading zone at the Metro Market 4075 North Oakland Avenue. Trustee Stokebrand?
Yeah, I guess I was curious that this one, first of all, was it late? I was kind of confused that it says it was received, but it couldn't be dealt with the others at the same time. And I guess we don't have a late fee. I've had concerns expressed to me about Metro Market, and I'm just wondering, I'm going to vote against this because it seems to me that they're not doing some of the things that they said they'd do when they came in. One example is they are supposed to have a bike station out in front where you can fix your tires or put air in your tires or something. And it's my understanding it hasn't been working for about a year. My understanding also is that there's not a problem with the local manager, but with the corporate entity. And I don't know how to go about that if that's something, obviously we're going to be redoing North Oakland Avenue in 2026. So if there's any way to apply pressure to Metro Market to do some of the things that they were supposed to do when they were first allowed, induced, whatever, to come into the village, I would appreciate that. And so the special privilege approval for a loading zone in the public right of way, I can't.
All right, thank you. Is there someone who would like to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the application for special privilege approval for a loading zone in the public right of way at the Metro Market 4075 North Oakland.
Second.
Motion by trustee Warren, seconded by trustee Arndorfer. Any further discussion?
President McKay,
Yes,
may I briefly address on this question?
Mr. Pendleton. Yeah, I'll take a brief comment.
Thank you. I do think Metro Market has not kept its word to the community, and I do believe Metro Market has not followed through on many of the pedestrian and bicycle-related promises they made when they sought the approval of the village to allow construction of Metro Market. There are a number of things that they've done in addition to those, or failed to do in addition to those mentioned by trustee Stokebrand. Of concern to me is they have created a shopping market security system, shopping cart security system that is very car centric. In fact,
Mr. Pendleton, I'm sorry to interrupt you at this time, but your comment is out of scope for the matter at hand, which is the loading zone. I'm happy to take comments under citizens to be heard.
if I might just circle back to why this is related to the loading zone.
Okay, but please do make your point.
Yes, thank you. This is another example of Metro Market seeking a very car-centric store. The loading zone is very car-centric. This is supposed to be a community store that is both welcoming to people who drive there, and who bike there, and who walk there. And they have not balanced their approach to shoppers. Transit users are disadvantaged, pedestrians are disadvantaged, bike riders disadvantaged. So I would encourage you to not approve this at this time and send it back to committee for further consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. So I believe we do have a motion and a second for approval of the loading zone. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 4-1. That concludes consent agenda items removed. We have no public hearings this evening. Items 8, citizens to be heard. Are there any citizens who would like to be heard on matters not on the agenda this evening? Hearing and seeing none, we'll close that and move on to new business. 9A, consider trick or treat date and time for 2025. So this comes to us for consideration. There's a memo in the packet. And basically, we are being asked to either approve a date and time that is consistent with the ICC tradition or procedure of the past, or to adopt an alternate time. So is there a motion?
I'll move for 2025 trick or treat hours in Shorewood to be on. Looking for the, on Sunday, October 26th between 1 PM and
Thank you. I'll second that. So motion by trustee Warren, seconded by President McCaig. Any discussion?
out of curiosity, does that fall during a Pittsburgh game? Does anyone?
It's a night game. So we're safe.
Yes.
Is it heresy to trick or treating on November? Because, I mean, it just seems like that next Saturday would make some.
I guess if if the motion on the floor fails, we can consider an alternate. So yes, trustee Warren?
I guess the only reason I'd prefer October 26th to November 1 is it can get cold very quickly, as we're seeing right now in Wisconsin. So I guess if we can, I'd rather push it up than back.
I don't want to be responsible for telling kids they have to wait, so I'm going to vote for the 26th.
A good point too.
And the 10-year schedule shows no November dates, so
Yeah.
obviously there is a.
All right. With that, I'll close discussion and ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. 9B, possible consideration for suspending the rules for ordinance 397 parades and ordinance 462 special events for the July 4th parade. This has been at the board prior to this, but went back to committee and is now accompanied with an updated memo that shows the policy history pertaining to this item. And so at this time, I would ask for questions or a motion. I believe they're two separate motions, right? There's,
It's an either or suggestion.
yes.
So just to clarify, I thought it was a no action requested or a motion.
Oh, right. Sorry. Thank
all
you.
right?
I didn't pull up the, that is, yeah. So there's, if we don't, so there's either a motion to suspend the rules or no action.
Correct.
So is there a motion to suspend? Yes, trustee
Is there,
Stoker.
could we have a little discussion? I had some questions.
Oh, questions? Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, because 2026, we have to have a different route anyway. Could we consider a parade route for 2025 and 2026 that's the same? Just because then we'd at least have 2 years of continuity with something going into a really disruptive period for our downtown. And so I'm just wondering, could we go from the Shorewood High School parking lot, if you'd use that as a staging area, or start staging around the Village Hall parking lot here, both south of Capitol, and then go down Oakland South and terminate at River Park?
I might,
It just, I don't really understand why at this point we're facing this one choice. I mean, I guess that's what's sort of been an issue for me all along is where's the community involvement and why are we not getting any choices? And so I'm going to offer that. Or I'd like to know, I believe staff had some sort of a 2026 option. I don't remember what it was, but it would seem to me that at this point, there are so many unanswered questions about restarting the traditional route on Oakland Avenue, which we can't even do in 26 anyway. why don't we find out what the extra equipment would, because it seems to me there's a feel we'd like to have the traditional route. We just don't have the money right now or the expertise to figure out how to make it safe. So we've got 2 years to budget for barricades and work out staffing questions. Let's look at 2025 and 2026 together. Get it off of Oakland Avenue. That includes capital because we have to do it anyway.
So I guess procedurally, one comment and just a clarification is we actually do have the expertise. We have the professional opinions of our staff that are consistent with best practice. So that is not a consideration that comes with this item before us. I would say procedurally, since it has been agended the way it is, that if the will of the body is to send it back to committee to consider an alternate route that is not mentioned here, then that would be the motion. And then we would stop consideration of the agenda item.
I would like to clarify, we never did get feedback from staff if we used all of the public works vehicles that were available and extra DPW staff, and we had additional modern security barricades instead of, the old. It does appear, based upon the research that was done, we're a bit behind the times in our barricades. Other communities have gotten more modern equipment. So I do think we are missing some technical pieces here that would affect how I would vote.
Okay. If you'd like to make a motion to send it back to committee to address those questions and requests, that is your choice.
Because I guess the point is, there's no way, given the time frame now, that we could even try to order equipment. Or staff has their vacation set. What are you going to do? It's May. So I guess I would like to see a plan for 2026 that we also use in 2025. And so if that's, I guess I would, so tell me, where are we with the Shorewood Today publication? What is in there so far? Is there one coming out before the 4th of July, or where are we? For
Manager
announcing-
Ewald, I can speak to that if you like.
Yes, please.
Yes, we are past, actually last week, we finalized all the copy. We did modify it since we didn't have the finalized route. At the time of the final submission for Shorewood Today, we were looking at going down Oakland. So at this point, it just says from Kensington and Oakland, the parade will head south. We don't have what the termination point would be, because we did not have that answer quite yet. But yes, to your question, there will be a Shorewood Today hitting mailboxes end of this month or June 1.
So once again, I would say either we take the item as agended this evening, or you make a motion to send it back to committee, and then we would stop discussing this evening. Attorney Baer.
As your lawyer, from a liability perspective, I think the most important thing I want people to pay attention to is the last note on the bottom of the first page of the memo, where it says any route that crosses Capitol Drive retains a higher risk to participants, attendees, and staff. Capitol Drive cannot have a hard close. And then it talks about Wisconsin DOT considering a permit application, et cetera, et cetera. And that's where the security risk comes in, because even if you cross it, you can't hard close it. So you have to still allow traffic through there. So my advice to you from a liability perspective, as your lawyer, is either put the whole thing north of Capitol or put the whole thing south of Capitol, but don't cross Capitol.
Thank you. So at this time, I'd like to ask the board if there is a wish to take action. So if there's no action taken this evening, then the policy in place will be applied as written. If there is action taken to send it back to committee, then that's what will happen. And if there is action to suspend the rules, then that is what will occur. So Trustee Stokebrand.
I move to direct staff to utilize the same 4th of July parade route for 2025 and 2026.
Is there a second? Motion fails due to lack of second. Is there any other action this evening?
No, I mean, in general, I would be supportive of no action required. You know, I would like us to seriously look at what we can do with the parade route post to, 2026, if it is feasible to, stick with the parade route that we've had for the past decade plus. I don't think we're in a position to do that right now, and we can stick with I'm fine sticking with the north of Capitol approach for this year based on the very real concerns that have been identified in terms of security. That said, I mean, I do think it is worth re-examining and may even be would be worth considering including a survey question for the community or something along those lines at some point, an appropriate point, just to see if there is a strong desire.
Mhm. I'd say that that's outside the
Correct.
scope this evening, but point taken. Trustee Warren?
Yeah, I would just echo our first, that at this point, discussion or take about, but I do think that community engagement will be going forward.
Trustee Stokbrand?
I did have one final question about funding. That we have reserves, I believe capital reserves of $100,000. I know we've been told that there's no money, but I'm just wondering about those capital.
Well, we don't have a motion on the floor. So we could get,
Just looking for information, which I did email late.
My apologies. I thought I had responded to your inquiry.
No.
So which capital funds are you referring to?
It's in the capital fund, the 400. We have $100,000 budgeted for contingency.
Oh, I would need to seek advisement from the finance director. I don't know the response to that off the top of my head.
Okay, because I did ask a couple, about money and was told in a phone call with you that we had no money several weeks ago. And, I think that it's important we could probably seek, a partnership perhaps with the foundation or another group that might be able to come up with some funding too. So I guess it's a little frustrating when, we've gotten different feedback from staff about the funding through this. And so that's frustrating because I did specifically ask in the budgeting process last year, do we have the money we need for barricades to go back to the traditional route? And I was told we don't need any additional money. And then when we started talking about this in January, we started talking about the parade route, and then suddenly, oh, you need $40,000 and you don't have it.
point taken. All right. Well,
It
I'm going
causes
to,
an erosion of trust.
I will be closing the discussion on this. And given that there is no action, that is the direction that's provided at this time. Moving on to 9C, consider intergovernmental cooperation agreement with Village of Whitefish Bay for Oakland Avenue water infrastructure improvements. Is there anything that you'd like to add in addition to the memo? That's it.
No,
The-
this was a community and business relations,
Mm-hmm.
correct? I know two of the members aren't here, but that's why I'm looking at Trustee McGovern. And they had provided their recommendation, which is reflected in the letter included within the packet.
Thank you, Trustee Warren.
Just a quick question. Curious, maybe I missed this in the packet, but why are there, so there are 7 properties. Why are 4 of them, I understand they're all in Whitefish Bay. Why are 4 of them Whitefish Bay is responsible for public and private service line installation and 3 of them shorekeeping, maintaining responsibility? Is there a reason I'm just wondering if I'm missing something. Reason we're keeping 3 or going to.
My apologies, my prior comment was related to the next item. Director Butchlick?
I'd be happy. Could you, I'm sorry, trustee Warren, could you repeat that question? It cut out on my audio.
So there are 7 properties total that are in Whitefish. Oh.
Yeah.
Things have changed.
So, so there are 7 properties total that are in Whitefish Bay. For 4 of them, Whitefish Bay is responsible for public and private service line installation, and Shorewood is maintaining responsibility for 3, as I understand it. And I'm just wondering why the difference in the treatment.
Sure. It is because of where we are separating the water main. Currently, that water main runs north completely through the intersection at Glendale and terminates at a point approximately 150 feet north of the intersection at the old metered connection point. We are separating the 2 systems within the intersection. So if you kind of imagine, I guess the best way I can explain it is two vehicles kind of playing chicken. One takes a left turn, one takes a right turn, and then you have what the new water main configuration will look like, those paths. So all the homes south of Glendale will remain on the line that is Shorewood's and will remain Shorewood's. But 3 of the homes, 4 of the homes will then be on the new Glendale system. 2 of them will connect on Oakland and 2 of them will connect off Glendale.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Would you like to make a motion?
I would love to. Give me a second. I move approval of the intergovernmental cooperation agreement between the Village of Shorewood and the Village of Whitefish Bay to facilitate improvements to Oakland Avenue water distribution system.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Warren, seconded by trustee McGovern. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 9D, consider transfer station extension of agreement. This comes to us from Community and Business Relations. Trustee McGovern, is there anything that you'd like to add to the memo?
Not really. It's pretty much everything is in there. Discussed it before, so.
Thank you. With that, would you like to make a motion since it came out of Community and Business Relations?
Yes. I just lost it.
I can,
Okay.
I move to approve the attached letter of extension to the Village of Whitefish Bay regarding the transfer station.
Second.
Motion by trustee Stokebrand, seconded by trustee McGovern. Any discussion?
I did just want to point out, I think the last item in the chart that shows dates and events, Whitefish Bay relayed they can utilize the current station or take refuse. The Germantown landfill, I think that's April 2025. They just let us know, right?
All right, with no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. That concludes new business. Moving on to report of village officials, village president, we have a proclamation this evening. Oh,
You like the paper
maybe
copy?
we don't. Is it in the packet?
Yeah.
Okay. I clicked on it, but it went to the wrong item. Thank you. I appreciate that. This is in recognition of Public Works Week, whereas public works services provided in the Village of Shorewood are an integral part of the residents' everyday lives, whereas the support of an understanding and informed citizenry is vital to the efficient operation of public works programs, including sewer and water systems, park and forestry maintenance, fleet and facilities maintenance, refuse collection, street maintenance and repair, traffic and streetlight system maintenance, and winter operations. And whereas the health, safety, and comfort of the residents of the Village of Shorewood greatly depends on these facilities and services, and whereas the quality and effectiveness of these facilities, as well as their planning and design and construction, is vitally dependent upon the efforts and skill of public works personnel. And whereas the efficiency of the qualified and dedicated personnel who staff the Village of Shorewood's Department of Public Works is greatly influenced by residents' attitude and understanding of the importance of their work. Now therefore, I, Ann McCullough McCaig, President of the Village of Shorewood, Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, do hereby proclaim the week of May 18th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in the Village of Shorewood. And I call upon residents and civic organizations to acquaint themselves with the issues involved in providing our public works and to recognize contributions which public works officials make every day to our health, safety, and comfort and quality of life. Dated Shorewood, Wisconsin, this 19th day of May, 2025. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The other two reports under Village President's ICC meeting is linked there, and the North Shore Fire Department Board meeting, May 13th, 2025. One item of note for the North Shore Fire Department is the Finance Director, Caitlin Harrigan, took in a position in the private sector, and huge loss to the department. She's just done an amazing job. However, a replacement was found who does have a really high level of experience, and so we're pleased to have her be starting this next month. So we're in good hands.
Well, that vacancy didn't go very long.
No,
Filled it fast.
no, yeah, exactly. All right, are there village trustee reports at this time? Village manager? All right. There are no future items of consideration this evening. I know Trustee Stokebrand, you had written in that you wanted some information. And I responded saying that that would be something that you can request. And if you want to put a future item in time for it to be posted next time.
Right, so that's what I was going. I don't see your email.
Oh, maybe I didn't hit
About-
send.
Is it about the
Um,
alley pictures?
Yes. So you had written in our processes that we submit items of future consideration before the packet is posted so that they can be agended. The information that you requested about schedule of repairs for alleys can definitely be provided. You don't need an item of you don't need board action to request that information. And then if you wanted to make a change in a schedule of repairs, that would be related to an initiative or definitely we would coordinate that with the village manager in the budget process. Because
So
we
I'm confused. What can I do to get a report about alley?
all you have to do is request it. So in the email that I thought I sent, I asked Rebecca to chime in. So I'll make sure that I pressed send and it didn't just go in my drafts.
Okay, so we can't,
Not now.
if we need to discuss as part of the law,
Mhm.
could we do that?
Yeah, so that's would be basically what I'm looking for is for the village manager to respond to the email with the options of putting it on the agenda because it would be a change to the long range financial plan.
Okay, so in 2 weeks, that's whether we want to put it on an agenda, and it would be 2 weeks.
I'm happy to provide that guidance via email. All I know is that it's not posted for this evening. So with that, it concludes our agenda this evening. And so I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any objections? Hearing none, we stand adjourned at 8:10 p.m. Thank you. So I will look to see. No problem. Thank you. Oh, yeah, I did.